A gripping video captured an armed robbery in Canada, where a thief pointed a gun at a cashier in an attempt to steal money. Amid the tense standoff, a courageous man quietly positioned himself behind the robber, watching closely for the perfect moment. When the opportunity struck, he moved with lightning speed to subdue the gunman. At the same time, other bystanders rushed in to help, disarming and overpowering the thief. Moments later, police arrived, arresting the suspect and praising the bravery of those who stepped in to protect others. What began as an ordinary day at this travel agency suddenly spiraled into chaos and danger when two armed robbers stormed in. With cold determination, they pointed their guns at the staff, barking threats. Don't do anything stupid if you want to stay alive. But they weren't just after cash. They demanded access to secure devices and ordered employees to unlock connected systems to bank accounts. Their twisted plan? To hack into those accounts and transfer the money themselves. Nearby civilians who sensed something wrong quickly alerted the police. Within moments, heavily armed officers surrounded the building, preparing to use lethal force if necessary to rescue the hostages. Fortunately, before bullets could fly, the robbers surrendered. The terrifying ordeal ended without bloodshed, and control was quickly restored. It was just another ordinary day at the transaction office, until chaos erupted. A masked robber burst through the door, waving a gun and threatening everyone in sight. He demanded phones, cash, gold rings, anything of value. In an instant, the entire room was consumed by panic and fear. The robber pushed deeper into the office, but a security guard opened fire in self-defense. As the thief tried to flee, a brave man sprang into action, slamming him against the wall and ripping the weapon from his hands. Others quickly joined in to help, and together they pinned the robber down and captured him on the spot. It was just an ordinary day for this woman, until a robber stormed in and pulled out a knife. She noticed immediately and boldly confronted him, trying to escape the danger zone as fast as possible. While the thief was busy grabbing cash, she ran outside to find help, then came back and fought him head-on. And when he pointed the knife at her, she kicked it away and snatched the money right out of his hands. This woman was incredibly brave, but her actions were also very risky. Please think carefully and prioritize your own safety before taking such steps. On her way to work, Dilma, a fearless female police officer, was ambushed by armed robbers who suddenly swerved in to block her car. Without a second of hesitation, she drew her weapon and opened fire. The sharp crack of gunfire echoed through the street, sending two of the thugs fleeing in panic, abandoning their accomplice trapped in the driver's seat. Realizing he was outmatched, the last man quickly stepped out of the car, raised both hands in surrender, and dropped to the ground face down in complete submission. It all began like any other ordinary day at the bank. The atmosphere was quiet and the security guard stayed alert, his eyes sweeping every corner like a seasoned hawk. Then he spotted him, a man dressed in black, moving suspiciously. Instantly, the guard prepared himself for a fight. Just as he suspected, the man stormed in, waved a gun, and tried to disarm him. But he had picked the wrong guard to mess with. With lightning-fast reflexes and expert-level skills, the guard sprang into action, swiftly taking down the armed robber. Without missing a beat, he turned and lunged at the second attacker. Caught completely off guard, the second robber panicked, abandoned his partner, and bolted out the door. In a shocking and completely unexpected turn of events, a young woman was walking to her car to get something when a thief on a motorcycle suddenly sped towards her, motioning for her to hand over all her belongings. Fearing for her safety, she complied, handing over her phone, money, and even her earrings. But it didn't stop there. In a bizarre twist, the thief suddenly changed tactics and stealthily asked for her phone number, even grabbing her hand. When she tried to leave, he brazenly followed her, attempting to flirt, seemingly captivated by her beauty. Fortunately, a police patrol team arrived just in time, rescuing the woman and apprehending the audacious, love-struck thief on the spot. A young woman was walking down the street when suddenly, a thief on a bicycle rushed up from behind and launched a surprise attack, trying to snatch her phone and money. But the woman was incredibly brave. She fought back fiercely and charged at the thief. The two fell to the ground in a desperate struggle. Though she resisted with all her strength, the thief was stronger and began to overpower her. At that very moment, a young man riding a bicycle witnessed the scene. Without a second thought, he jumped off his bike and ran toward the thief, diving into the fight to rescue the young woman. The cashier and the elderly security guard were quietly working when a man dressed in black stormed in, armed with a pistol of unknown caliber. Without hesitation, the man declared it was a robbery. But the old guard didn't freeze. In a flash, he removed his glasses, his eyes sharp with resolve, and sprang into action. His movements were swift, calculated, and surprisingly powerful. Though aged, the guard proved he still had the strength and reflexes of a warrior. The young robber was no match for him, not even close. And just like that, the would-be criminal was taken down and captured by the very man he underestimated. While stopping at a gas station, a mother made a critical mistake. She left her keys in the car, with her baby still inside. Seizing the opportunity, a thief jumped into the vehicle and drove off. But this mother wasn't about to stand by. In an act of sheer courage, she climbed onto the hood of the moving car. The thief tried everything to shake her off, but she held on with all her strength, refusing to let him take her car, and more importantly, her child. Eventually, the thief gave up and fled on foot. The mother brought the car to a stop in the middle of the road and collapsed in exhaustion and shock. Driven by unstoppable maternal instinct, she risked everything to protect her baby. This jaw-dropping video is a powerful testament to a mother's love and determination. Young women walking alone on deserted streets often become easy prey for ruthless thieves. In this video, a young woman is visibly terrified and shaken as a gun-wielding robber threatens to take her phone. But there are still heroes among us, like the pickup truck driver in this footage. He reacted with lightning speed and unwavering resolve to save her. Although the robber managed to escape, he paid a heavy price for his crime. A bold robbery unfolded unexpectedly when two armed criminals stormed into a fashion store and tried to intimidate the shop owner. But the owner had a different plan. With the calm of a chess grandmaster and the cunning of a movie villain, he tricked the robbers into staying inside, then casually pulled the shutter down from the outside, trapping them like two bewildered mannequins. Moments later, he returned with the police. A surveillance camera captured a dramatic moment when an elderly man's family was stopping their vehicle in front of their house and was suddenly approached by two robbers on foot. Armed with weapons, the criminals threatened the family and demanded their car and phones. In a brave act to protect his loved ones, the elderly man cleverly took cover behind a concrete pillar and drew his firearm. He fired at the attackers, and the sound of gunfire sent the terrified robbers fleeing the scene. These two thugs were prowling the streets hunting for a target. They ignored a woman walking nearby and set their sights on an elderly shop owner. But they gravely underestimated the 75-year-old man. The moment they stepped inside, he sensed the danger. Without hesitation, he sprang into action. Quick, precise, and fearless. His swift response caught them completely off guard, forcing them to flee in panic. Shocking turn of events straight out of a blockbuster movie. A brazen robbery unfolded in broad daylight on a city street. Two armed robbers on a motorbike chased down a driver at gunpoint, forcing him to pull over in an attempt to hijack his vehicle. But as the driver swerved, trying to escape, the thieves circled back and cut him off at an intersection, determined to get what they came for. What they didn't expect was resistance. The driver, unfazed and fiercely resolute, turned his car into a weapon of defense. With nerves of steel, he charged forward, triggering a dramatic collision that sent the robbers into a frenzy. Panicked and overwhelmed, the would-be criminals fled the scene, realizing far too late they had picked the wrong target. Shocking turn of events unfolded when a man was cornered against a wall by 5 robbers on motorbikes. But instead of complying with their demands, he pretended to fall, only to pull out a gun. The tables turned instantly. Caught off guard and gripped by panic, the robbers fled in chaos. In the end, the confrontation ended in the victim's favor. This couple didn't go on a romantic date. Instead, they went out to steal. Their target, a motorbike parked on the side of the road. The boyfriend moved swiftly and skillfully, like he'd done this 100 times before. He successfully unlocked the bike and rode off without a hitch. But the girl wasn't so lucky. Her engine failed to start, She tried again and again, but the bike wouldn't budge. By the time regret set in, it was already too late. Her boyfriend had vanished into the night, leaving her alone and stranded. Face to face with a group of men, they dragged her into a nearby house, and no one knows what happened behind that closed door. A 73-year-old man and his stepson were stalked all the way home after a routine trip to the bank. Drawing on his sharp instincts and experience, he swerved the wheel and sped away, outmaneuvering the would-be robbers in a daring escape.
Give it up! Give it up! Give it up! What the hell? What the hell? Give it up! Give it money up!
Just as two women and a man arrived at the gate of their home, danger struck. Two robbers on a motorbike sped in. One jumped off, brandishing threats without hesitation. In an instant, one thief grabbed the woman's wallet, while the other snatched the man's. With no way to fight back safely, the victims had no choice but to comply. But inside the house, an 80-year-old man noticed the commotion. Realizing his family was under attack, he sprang into action without a second thought. The robbers weren't expecting a courageous old man to confront them. Caught completely off guard, they panicked and fled the scene in a frenzy. The robbers were in a black car, most likely stolen. Two men dressed in black jumped out and sprinted toward a parked Land Rover. Their plan was clear: overpower the driver and steal the vehicle. But they didn't count on him being razor sharp and ready to fight back. With lightning-fast reflexes, the driver launched a fierce counterattack, completely catching them off guard. One of the robbers panicked and fled, leaving his partner behind. The second barely managed to escape. Luck was the only thing on his side that day. A young student couple was walking hand in hand on the sidewalk when suddenly, two thugs on a motorbike sped up from behind. In a flash, the man on the back jumped off and lunged at them to rob them. But right at that moment, a red vehicle from the opposite direction screeched to a halt, carrying unexpected heroes. They jumped out with weapons drawn, pointing guns straight at the robbers' heads. In seconds, the student couple was rescued, and the criminals were captured on the spot. The woman was walking alone when, out of nowhere, two robbers on a motorbike sped straight toward her. In the blink of an eye, one of them jumped off and snatched her handbag. She fought back fiercely, refusing to give in even as desperation took hold. It looked like the criminals would get away without a hitch, but fate had other plans. Two thieves on a motorbike tried to intimidate another rider, aiming to steal his vehicle. But the young man stood his ground, showing no fear. With the help of nearby bystanders, he quickly turned the tables, surrounding and capturing the would-be robbers. This scene stands as a powerful example of situational awareness and community bravery, highlighting a willingness to step in and protect those at risk. Richard Slashinger was enjoying a meal at a pizza shop on Hollywood Boulevard when out of nowhere, a thief attacked him. The robber grabbed Richard's belongings and casually walked off, as if nothing had happened. But Timothy Radcliffe, the restaurant owner, wasn't about to let it slide. He immediately chased the thief down and confronted him. The scuffle spilled out onto the busy Hollywood Boulevard, and that's when Timothy's girlfriend rushed in to help. Two robbers leapt over the checkout counter, completely overpowering the cashier. To stay safe, the cashier complied with their demands without resistance. But just as the criminals were engrossed in grabbing the cash, a police officer arrived in the nick of time, rescuing the cashier and swiftly taking the robbers into custody. It was just another ordinary day at this convenience store, until an armed robber brazenly stormed in, waving a gun in the air. But with the instincts of a father, the man didn't hesitate. He charged at the robber without fear, determined to protect his son. In that heart-pounding moment, he showed incredible courage and bravery, proving to the boy that a father will always be everything. Three thieves had just pulled off a bold motorbike heist, but their plan unraveled within seconds thanks to one incredibly sharp man. He pretended to be terrified, fooling the thieves into a false sense of control. The moment they let their guard down and began to flee, he spotted the perfect opportunity and he struck. With zero hesitation, he launched a surprise attack that caught them completely off guard. One of the thieves tried to fight back, but he skillfully dodged the blow. Overwhelmed by his courage and quick thinking, the gang panicked and scattered in fear. Florida police report a terrifying home invasion was thwarted when the homeowner fought back. According to the Escambia County Sheriff, 3 men approached the front door of a residence with clear malicious intent. As the homeowner opened the door, 2 of the suspects forced their way inside while the third pulled out a handgun. But what happened next flipped the script. Doorbell camera footage captured the dramatic moment all 3 suspects bolted in panic as the homeowner opened fire. 2 of the suspects, DeTorin Hackworth and Antonio Dwayne Dean Jr., have been arrested and charged with using a firearm during a felony. Authorities are still on the hunt for the remaining 2 suspects. One step slower, and these two might never have left this place. The man was backing his car into the garage when a white vehicle suddenly screeched to a halt. Armed robbers had arrived. Two men jumped out and stormed into the garage, trying to hijack the car before the automatic door could close. But what they didn't know was that the homeowner was ready, waiting for them to make their move. Without hesitation, the owner opened fire in self-defense. The robbers quickly realized their fatal mistake and fled for their lives. These guys broke into the garage of an apartment complex, and they're stealing bicycles like it's a shopping spree. But little did they know, their every move was being watched. A gentleman and a young man spotted them on the surveillance camera. Without hesitation, they jumped into the elevator, heading straight down to confront the intruders. And then, the elevator doors open, and out steps the young man wielding a gleaming katana. No joke. The guy looks like a real-life samurai. If he is a samurai, then my advice to those thieves, run. Fast. The gentleman was simply walking to his car to grab a few things. But from the top left, a vehicle rolled in. This was no friendly visit. Robbers leapt out, ready to ambush. But the man didn't hesitate. With swift, decisive action, he struck first, fighting back to defend himself and his vehicle. Ironically, the robbers came to steal a car and ended up losing the one they came in. An armed robbery erupted unexpectedly at a luxurious home. Two masked intruders struck the moment a car had just pulled into the garage, forcing the driver inside. The homeowner and his friends, who were present at the time, were ordered to lie face down on the floor if they didn't want to get hurt. Meanwhile, the lady of the house, who was in the bedroom, heard the commotion and came out to check. One of the robbers fired a shot, but she drew a handgun and fired back. The suspect fled immediately afterward. Fortunately, no one in the family was injured. A foiled robbery unfolded at a gas station in the suburbs of Washington, D.C., when a courageous man stood his ground against armed criminals. It all began when one of the suspects casually stepped out of the car, pretending to tie his shoelaces, a deceptive tactic meant to lower the guard of potential victims. But this man wasn't so easily fooled. He was alert, aware, and ready. Sensing something suspicious and recognizing the looming danger, he sprang into action, turning the tables on the would-be robbers before they could make their move. A gang of criminals attempted a bold but ultimately failed robbery. They struck fast and with aggression, but fortunately, the car owner was highly alert and had already taken precautionary measures. Thanks to that foresight, they not only avoided danger, but also dealt significant damage to the would-be robbers. A tense robbery erupted at a convenience store when a thief brandished a knife to threaten the store owner. The situation was dangerously volatile, yet the owner maintained an astonishing level of composure. Instead of panicking, he skillfully used a chair as a barricade to keep a safe distance and prevent the situation from escalating. Fortunately, nearby customers quickly stepped in to intervene and rescue the owner. The twist? Even though he knew there was no way to escape, the thief instinctively stuffed the cash into his pocket, like it was second nature. Just as the woman arrived at her gate, the robbers charged at her from behind. They were after her car, and as you can see, she was utterly devastated. But then, her incredible husband appeared right on time, shouting straight into the thief's face, "Back off or die!" And look at him go! He ran faster than Usain Bolt. This was the final heist of his criminal run, after months on the run, dodging the relentless pursuit of the police. Just like the times before, he stormed into the store, took control of the staff, and grabbed the cash within 2 to 3 minutes before making his escape. But this time, the police were ready. They arrived just in time, and he would never get another chance to rob again. A robbery was successfully prevented thanks to the homeowner's sharp awareness and proactive defense. As two thugs pretended to walk casually toward his house, one of them, the man in red, suddenly pulled out a gun and charged in. But the homeowner immediately fired back in self-defense, causing the attackers to panic and flee. One of them was injured and later captured by police. Security camera footage captures the tense moment a young woman is ambushed by two thieves the instant she steps out of her car. She displays remarkable quick thinking in the face of danger and bravely fights back against her attackers. Fortunately, police arrived just in time to rescue her. A bold theft rocked a quiet suburban neighborhood in the dead of night. A group of brazen thieves broke into a home using garage door tools, slipping in without making a sound. They ransacked a truck and rummaged through the garage, snatching anything of value. But just as they thought they were in the clear, the homeowner woke up, gun in hand, and stormed outside. Panicked, the intruders bolted into the darkness, vanishing before police could arrive. Though they escaped, the incident sparked growing fears over rising juvenile crime and shaken trust in neighborhood safety. Look at that man walking in from the right, sneaking into Bill's backyard. Now watch what he's doing.
Hey! What are you doing? I came here wrong, man. I came here wrong, man. Out of here. I came the wrong way. You better did. Get the fuck out of here. Ow!
Fortunately, no one was hurt, and Bill's loyal shepherd dog acted as an early warning system, alerting Bill in time to stop the threat and protect his family. This thief thought he was fast, but karma had wheels too, and it caught up with both bikes. Looks like his getaway plan just got a flat tire. He could run, but he couldn't hide, especially not on a stolen bicycle. That was the moment he realized stealing a bike was a very bad idea. This was a dangerously tense situation for the homeowner, but thankfully he spotted the intruder just in time, thanks to his surveillance camera. The moment the thief caught sight of the homeowner's gleaming .38 caliber pistol, he bolted like lightning. The homeowner, a sharp, fearless man, always alert, always ready to protect his family. And the thief, a shameful, humiliating failure. A woman was calmly filling up her car with gas when, out of nowhere, a thief sprang into action. He jumped into her vehicle and tried to speed away, but he didn't get far. A man who had witnessed the entire scene didn't hesitate for a second. With fearless determination, he charged toward the thief, confronting him head-on in a daring attempt to stop the crime. A struggle broke out, but the thief managed to slip away and bolted from the scene at full speed. A bank security guard was transferring cash from an armored truck to an ATM, unaware that a group of robbers were lying in wait inside a white vehicle nearby. The moment they saw him holding the money bag, the criminals leapt out and launched a sudden attack, but the guard reacted instantly. He dashed behind a nearby car for cover and opened fire, forcing the three would-be robbers to scatter and flee. This thief had broken into the same house multiple times, an old habit that led him back once again. Today he came for the car, but the homeowner had been waiting for him. However, the owner didn't intend to harm, just scare him off. At that distance, the thief had little chance of escape anyway.
Karen.
An 84-year-old man was simply doing his job at a laundromat when a thug stormed in and threatened him, demanding cash. This heartless criminal dared to rob a man nearly a century old. He deserves 300 years in prison with no chance of parole for such a despicable act. Check out these two clowns on a motorbike. They thought they had spotted an easy target, a parked motorcycle with the key still in the ignition. One of them hopped off, bursting with excitement, trying to start the bike like some kind of pro thief. But then, he spotted a cold, steady gun pointed straight at him. Suddenly, our would-be thief remembered he had somewhere very important to be and bolted like his life depended on it. Honestly, this guy's panic-fueled exit was the highlight of my week. The couple was just about to enjoy dinner at a small restaurant when a gang of robbers stormed in. The girl tried to leave the danger behind, but the thugs blocked her path. Their foolish and reckless behavior toward her ignited a firestorm of rage in her boyfriend, and they had no idea they were about to pay a heavy price for their mistake. As the girl moved to safety, that was the moment the man decided it was time to strike. A dramatic motorbike robbery came to an abrupt end when one of the fleeing robbers suddenly collapsed while trying to escape. The unexpected twist unfolded after the suspects had approached their victim on a motorbike and successfully snatched his vehicle. It is believed that the robber may have suffered a stroke due to extreme stress, turning their bold crime into a shocking and chaotic downfall. On a rainy day inside a small convenience store in Pennsylvania, a man burst through the door, armed and extremely dangerous. He pointed his gun straight at the cashier and shouted, "Don't do anything stupid!" But then, the cashier pulled out a gun of his own. The robber panicked, his confidence shattered, and bolted out the door like a coward, leaving behind nothing but the echo of fear. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a genius here. He decided to steal a bicycle. But wait, here's the kicker. He did it in the backyard of a military battalion. I mean, seriously, talk about picking the absolute worst place to commit a crime. Next thing you know, the entire battalion is chasing him down. Our guy, NOLA, panics, tosses the bike like it's a piping hot potato, and takes off running for dear life. Can you imagine? It's like every soldier got a free punch as a bonus round. A botched robbery at a mobile phone store in Surrey, BC turned into a nightmare for the thief. He shattered the glass door to force his way in, but little did he know, he had just walked into a trap. The store's advanced security system instantly sealed him inside. Watching everything unfold live on her smartphone, store owner Peggy Burnt immediately contacted the police. Trapped and panicking, the would-be thief rummaged through the store in vain, finding nothing worth stealing. Desperation set in as he tried to flee, but every exit was locked tight. Moments later, police arrived and took him into custody without resistance. Burnt later spoke out, highlighting the growing wave of thefts and stressing the urgent need for better protection for small businesses. The couple was being intimate in the car when the robber approached and tried to open the door. The man immediately jumped out of the car, pulling up his pants as he chased after the robber. Of course, a guy pulling up his pants would run slower than the other one. Robbers on a motorbike attempted to attack a driver, but instead of surrendering, the driver fought back, reversing his car and using it as a weapon to defend himself. The powerful impact forced the robbers to flee, leaving their motorbike trapped beneath the car. The incident highlights the power of active self-defense when facing sudden, unpredictable danger. Two robbers tried to steal a man's bike, but he resisted skillfully, creating a tense struggle. His smart actions and delay tactics bought him valuable time, and the police arrived just in time to rescue him. Where will the robbers' future lead? Trading their youth for years in prison over a bike, was it really worth it? The couple was out for a peaceful walk when suddenly, two robbers on a motorbike came speeding toward them. The guy on the back leapt off, only to face plant straight into the pavement. Wincing in pain, he stumbled forward, trying to chase the couple. But it was an epic failure. From slamming his face into the ground to dropping both his gun and helmet while fleeing. This was a comedy of errors from start to finish. The man was riding his motorbike when, out of nowhere, two other bikers suddenly closed in on him. Their intentions were clear. They were out to rob him of everything he had, including his bike. With no other choice and his safety at stake, he handed over the cash the robbers demanded. Just as the thieves were about to make their getaway with the loot, a hero burst onto the scene. Behind the wheel of a white car, he sped straight toward the fleeing criminals. A brave, unarmed woman leapt into action as a knife-wielding robber lunged toward the cashier, threatening to take the money. Without hesitation, she stood her ground, facing danger head-on to stop the attacker in his tracks. Security footage captured a tense early Sunday morning armed robbery in New Orleans' Broadmoor neighborhood. In the video, a man suddenly pulls a gun and aims it at a couple walking down the street. In the face of danger, the young man showed remarkable courage, swiftly stepping in to shield his girlfriend from the threat. To prevent the situation from escalating, he complied with the robber's demand, handing over his jacket without resistance. Once he got the item, the gunman immediately fled the scene. In any armed robbery, safety is paramount. This young man prioritized his girlfriend's well-being above all else, avoiding reckless resistance to minimize the risk of harm. Just as this Porsche pulled up to the front gate, the robbers struck. They had likely been tailing the vehicle for quite some time. One of them leapt out of their car, pulled a gun, and threatened the driver, demanding the luxury vehicle. But the driver remained astonishingly calm. Without hesitation, he threw the car in reverse and skillfully backed away from the armed assailants. From what I know, the car's windows are bulletproof, a crucial advantage in this terrifying moment. Credit must be given to the driver for his composure and impressive handling under extreme pressure. A meticulously planned heist was set in motion. A bold attempt to rob an armored truck transporting cash. A white vehicle carrying the suspects pulled into a nearby parking lot, just a short distance from the armored truck. Proof that the gang had studied the victim's routine in detail. As the security guard carrying a money bag walked toward the armored vehicle like any other day, the robbers struck. One man wearing a white hoodie sprinted forward and aimed a gun directly at the guard. A violent struggle erupted. It lasted only seconds, but it was fierce. The guard managed to fire his weapon just in time. Realizing the plan was unraveling, the gunman panicked and fled the scene, abandoning his accomplice. Then came an incredible moment. A nearby bystander, without hesitation, charged in and tackled the terrified suspect to the ground. No cape, no uniform, just raw courage. A true street hero. Two robbers on a motorcycle ambushed a man, threatening him to hand over his bike. Fearing for his life, the man had no choice but to abandon his motorcycle and flee to safety. But fate had other plans. As the robbers tried to make their getaway, karma struck hard. One of them struggled with the scorching road, and their plan quickly began to unravel. The fate of these robbers? Either a prison cell or kissing the scorching asphalt. In this case, one of them ran like the wind, but still got caught in the end. Three thugs wearing hooded jackets and face masks stormed into the store demanding money. But what they didn't expect was that an off-duty police officer happened to be shopping there. He quickly drew his gun, prompting two of the robbers to flee in panic, leaving their bewildered accomplice behind. A phone robbery gone hilariously wrong. A woman walked into a phone store, pretending to browse casually, just a clever act to distract the shop owner. When she finally snatched a phone and tried to make a run for it, reality hit hard. The door was locked. Trapped, confused, and clearly embarrassed, she was left to face the consequences of her poorly executed and downright foolish crime. Here's a dramatic and vivid English translation. It was just another ordinary day at the convenience store, until chaos walked through the door. A robber stormed in, brandishing threats and demanding money, sending shockwaves of fear through the staff. Terrified for their lives, the employees fled the scene, scrambling outside to safety. Inside, the criminal unleashed his fury, tearing through shelves and smashing displays in a desperate hunt for cash. But his rampage wouldn't last long. Thanks to the quick-thinking staff who alerted the authorities, police arrived just in time and caught the thief red-handed, ending his violent spree in dramatic fashion. This video captures a bold and calculated heist, revealing the audacity and cunning of the criminals involved. One man staged a fake seizure right in the middle of the store, collapsing to the ground in a convincing act that sent the staff scrambling to help. But it was all a setup. While everyone was distracted, his accomplice quietly made his move, snatching two high-priced bulldogs and slipping away in the chaos. Each dog was valued at up to $4,000, making this not just a theft, but a major loss. The story takes a surprising turn when one of the bulldogs is later found, sold at a bargain price to an unsuspecting woman. As for the thief who played the seizure stunt, his performance didn't end well. He's now behind bars. The video captures a robbery at an ice cream shop in Texas. This guy pretended to be a customer before suddenly demanding cash. Realizing the robber wasn't armed with anything dangerous, the shop owner immediately fought back. At the same time, a female employee grabbed a gun and pulled the trigger. The moment the robber heard the gunshot, he let go, his legs trembling as he fled in panic. The clumsiest robber on earth. In a hilarious blunder, he forgot his loaded gun during a store robbery. Realizing his mistake, he tried to fix it. But the more he tried, the funnier it got. A motorbike riding thief snatched a handbag from a woman walking down the street and tried to make a swift getaway. But in a heart-pounding moment straight out of an action movie, a heroic taxi driver swerved into action, blocking the thief's path with his vehicle and stopping the escape cold. The driver's brave and selfless act quickly went viral, inspiring an entire community and reminding everyone that justice always finds a way to triumph. A homeowner noticed suspicious activity through their security camera. A thief attempting to steal a package from the doorstep. Rather than remaining a passive observer, the homeowner acted immediately, confronting the would-be thief while armed. This swift intervention not only prevented the loss, but also ensured the safe return of the package. It was just another ordinary day at the transaction office, until chaos erupted. Out of nowhere, a masked robber stormed through the doors, brandishing a gun and shouting threats at everyone in sight. Panic spread like wildfire. People froze. Some ducked for cover. The air turned heavy with fear. The robber barked out demands, phones, cash, gold rings, anything that could be taken. He moved swiftly, eyes darting, pushing deeper into the office. But just as things seemed to spiral out of control, a shot rang out. The security guard, acting in self-defense, opened fire. In the confusion, a courageous man seized the moment. With fearless determination, he lunged at the thief, slamming him hard against the wall and tearing the weapon from his hands. In seconds, others rushed in to help. Together, they overpowered the robber, pinned him to the ground. A woman was refueling her car when two thieves suddenly approached. One of them jumped into the driver's seat, ready to steal the vehicle. But she grabbed each thief by the collar and tossed them out, one after the other, like unwanted baggage.
Bos, Cashier. Cashier, bos. Cashier dan Cashier kau. Bos dalam kapal ni. Cashier. Cashier. Bos tahu. Tahu sih. Cashier, bos ni.
An armed robber pretended to be a customer, waiting quietly. But the moment a staff member stepped into the store, he pulled out a gun and threatened them. He forced the terrified employee to lead him straight to the cash storage area, waving his weapon and yelling at everyone around, spreading fear and panic throughout the room. But just when things seemed most dangerous, a hero appeared, landing a series of powerful kicks on the robber and saving everyone from harm. The hunter becomes the hunted. Young woman turns the tables in midnight break-in. A bold break-in at a young woman's home quickly escalated into an all-out battle. The intruders believed she would be an easy target, someone they could overpower in seconds. But they were dead wrong. In a dramatic twist, the hunter became the hunted. Sensing danger lurking in the shadows, the woman didn't panic. Instead, she hid silently, waiting as the intruders crept deeper into her home. Then a gunshot shattered the stillness of the night. Caught completely off guard, the criminals panicked and fled in chaos. According to multiple reports, millions of packages are lost or stolen in the United States every year. Some estimates suggest as many as 1.7 million packages go missing daily, adding up to over 600 million a year. If we assume that out of those 600 million packages, 100 million are stolen, and multiply that by an average value of $20 each, the total worth of stolen goods would soar to a staggering $2 billion annually. It's a gold mine for thieves, which might explain why, in this town, it feels like there are 4 crooks lurking in every square meter. The lady was having a perfectly normal day at work until a man walked in, clutching a small bag, and calmly said he wanted to show her something. Inside the bag was a gun. "This is a robbery," he declared coldly. "Don't run. Don't do anything stupid. Just hand over the money and no one gets hurt." Staying calm under pressure, she complied, unlocking the safe and handing over the cash. But with nerves of steel, she also managed to discreetly press the silent alarm. The robber, drunk on the thrill and the cash he thought he had just scored, didn't get far. Police stormed in just in time, rescuing the brave woman and putting an end to his short-lived crime spree. A brazen burglary attempt quickly turned into a disaster for one would-be thief. At first, the suspect was spotted eyeing a bicycle outside a home, but after failing to steal it, he casually walked away. Minutes later, he returned, circling the house like a shadow, waiting for the perfect moment to break in. When the woman living there stepped outside, the suspect seized the opportunity and slipped inside without hesitation. Moving quietly and creeping upstairs, he appeared to be searching for valuables. Unbeknownst to him, the homeowner had been watching his every move through security cameras. Staying calm, the man confronted the intruder head-on and unleashed a flurry of powerful punches. Stunned and battered, the suspect fled the scene empty-handed, except for a rapidly swelling black eye. Police are now investigating the incident,